Welcome to the Fanboy Forum. Booyakasha. L'chaim. All right. I'm Mick Russell.
I'm Lazette.
And today we're going to talk about the top dramatic and anti-dramatic scenes in sci-fi fantasy movie history. All right. I'm just going to start off by, well, first of all, we've had some changes to the set, as you can clearly see. The Fanboy Forum has an addition of a fangirl, and thusly
Taking over the fangirl forum.
we have a representation of femininity, superheroism on the table as well. In addition to, it's a frat. Thank you, King Chuck. All right. I want to start off with, and I don't care if you can see the wires. I don't really care that if he actually did this in reality, everyone on the planet would essentially fall off the earth. It would just rip it apart. Superman. In the last scene of Superman, when he saves everything and this, that, and the other, and he's looking.
Are we talking
The very first Superman.
Chris Reeves,
Christopher
right?
Reeve.
Okay.
And he's like, he finds Lois in the car buried and all that.
Right.
Kind of like she was buried in like Lone Wolf McQuade was buried, but she didn't have a supercharger.
Oh, Christ.
So, but anyway, he gets down there and he's like, and that intensity of him just screaming and then heading to the heavens and then spinning the
Changing the Earth's rotation.
right and going back in time to.
Because that's how you do it. You spin the planet backwards.
Right, you know. Hey.
And it moves backwards
back
through the
then we
big
didn't-
ball of timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Right, there
Right.
you go. Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly. See, back then we didn't really know all that much about, space-time and physics and all. But anyway, that's definitely my number one. Number two, Lone Wolf McQuade. Not just one of the greatest. It is one of the greatest action scenes in cinematic history. It was just so. Again, okay. They shot Chuck's daughter. They shot Chuck's woman. They shot his
He
dog.
had a supercharged truck to get
And
him
they
through all
shot his
that.
dog,
And a can
man.
of beer. A supercharged truck and a can of beer will get you through the pain of that every time.
Yeah, they shot
18
his dog
bullets,
too.
losing your family. Who cares? Can of beer, supercharged
I'm
truck.
actually getting choked up because they shot the man's dog. Man, that's not even.
That's rough.
It is science fiction. Whatever.
Science
That's the fiction
fiction.
part, right?
Anyway, let me contain myself. Let me collect myself. Okay. Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back.
That's what you're talking about?
No,
are you talking
no. Empire Strikes Back. Basically, when you find out that
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
making all
that.
this
Oh,
thing,
no.
it's like, no. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
in addition to one of the most dramatic scenes in sci-fi history,
Right?
Mark Hamill makes one of the ugliest faces in
I know.
cinematic history. It's like, oh, dude, oh.
He just wanted you to feel the pain inside.
Right, no, I feel the pain. That was
Created pain.
awful. And also Star Wars Return of the Jedi. Like, people can say what they want about the prequels. Yeah, the action is a lot more involved. The choreography is a lot tighter. But that last scene with Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader fighting it out, and that ominous music,
Yeah.
dude, you felt something.
Yeah.
It was versus.
And even the part where he's like hiding helps build up that
Right.
anticipation of it.
I mean, it was just
tension.
like, it was deep. It was deep. Versus, I'm not saying that the fight scene between Obi-Wan and Anakin wasn't. It was awesome, but it wasn't as.
Yeah. It didn't have that same like.
It wasn't like. And then it was just pure raw emotion at the end when he's trying to cut Darth Vader's hand off. It's just, that was probably hands down, definitely top three. Anti-dramatic scene. X-Men. What happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? Again, if you stopped it right there.
What does happen to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
Right, if you do. What happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? Plakakow, that's it. You end it right there. But instead...
The same thing that happens to everything else.
Oh, you just ruined it. That's like, yeah, no, you just ruined it. Anti, Star Wars, the Clone Wars.
Clone Wars?
Wait, no, sorry, the Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. You finally get to see Yoda pull out the stops, and he's jumping all around like a howler monkey. The man's 900 years old, jumping all over the place.
No, at that point, he was only like 870.
My mistake. That was just like, oh man, come on. It was just, it kind of...
Well, wait, how else do you expect an imp to fight with a lightsaber?
Not like that.
That's a fucking Sith lord, like...
Well, I don't...
What else are you wanting?
Even if he did, I didn't want to hear it.
The only other alternative to him being like crazy, like being a fucking Super Bowl, is him being a Zen master and just like sitting there in the middle, like just doing everything with his mind.
Well,
you think that would have been cooler?
It was, no, but he sounded like, what was the one guy who ran for president a few years ago? Blew his whole campaign with one thing. Yeah! What was that guy's name?
Richard Dean.
Howard Dean.
Howard Dean.
That's who he sounds like. Yeah!
We're going to California and Texas and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
And it's just like, oh, you just lost me. You had me. Here comes Yoda, and then you end up with Howard Dean. Yeah. No. And then also anti-dramatic, Revenge of the Sith. And I've mentioned it before.
Darth Vader's reveal. Is that what you're talking about?
When he's like, which I guess I don't know that he didn't have to say that. He didn't have to. It didn't bother me as much as it did most people, other than but Anakin's rant at the very end. That was just like, oh, dude, come on, man. That was anti-dramatic. That was definitely.
I just don't know that if that exact scene had been done pretty much that exact way in the original trilogy, everybody would have been like, yeah, that's how it rolls. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think it's George Lucas being anything other than George Lucas. It's just that people had higher expectations.
Oh, no,
definitely.
stuff. Definitely.
It's nothing other. It's still stilted and awkward George Lucas stuff.
Well, George Lucas is a little awkward. I mean,
he's pretty awkward. Except back in the '70s, they're like, okay, you're doing the best you can, dude. All right. But now they have higher expectations with his budget, his time, and the fact that maybe someone would have come near him with a script with actual dialogue in it at some point. Yeah.
But earlier in Revenge of the Sith, one of the most dramatic scenes when Anakin started killing younglings. I heard about it, but when you actually see it, you're like, oh shit.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
And I heard that, what's his name? Steven Spielberg actually broke down and cried when he actually viewed it. But no, when he started killing the younglings, it was just like, it's like, Master Skywalker, what are we going to do? And he just goes, and you're just like, oh, damn. It looks like we're getting another call from Vader Girl. Of course. Of course, we're talking about Star Wars. Of course, we're going to get a call. We'll be right back.
Hi everybody. everybody, Vader Girl here. Today's question comes from Mike. And Mike asks, do you read dark comics? Do you read comics at all? I know I'm going to be disappointing a lot of you with this answer. No, I don't. I am not a comic person. I've never been into reading comics. I love going to comic stores. I love the atmosphere, the people. I love looking at the comics, but actually reading them, no, I've never been into that. I do, however, collect some comics. I prefer the comics related to the movies that I am into. Like the sci-fi movies that are my favorites are Planet of the Apes and V. There are not many things that you can buy that are Planet of the Apes related or V related. So I do get the comic books. And it is really hard to find Planet of the Apes stuff. I do own quite a few Planet of the Apes stuff, but I do go for the comic books. And I'm very picky about which Planet of the Apes comic book I get. It must resemble the original movies. They do make the Planet of the Apes books that do appear. They have the cover of the remake with Mark Wahlberg. I will not buy it. I hated the remake. The thing I hated most about that Planet of the Apes remake was that they made the people talk. But there were so much more wrong with that movie. The other one, the prequel, I enjoyed that one. That was really, really good. But the one with Mark Wahlberg was a big disappointment. So I do collect original-looking Planet of the Apes books. This is a newer one. And V is even harder to find stuff with V. And I do go for the original. I did not like the remake. I'm more of a classic type girl. I really have a hard time when they remake something. They just remade the Evil Dead. I enjoyed it. It scared me. Came home alone to the house. Couldn't sleep. So, again, it has to look like the original. I do not collect these for any value reasons. That's not important to me. I collect them because I like them. That's not the cover. There we go. So sorry if I disappointed some of you, but no, I don't read the comic books, but I do like collecting specific ones. I really like weird things, so if there's something, a comic book that looks interesting, I will get it. And since the discussion today is comic books, I would like to give a shout out to 3 wonderful comic book stores in Michigan. The first one, owners Dennis, Wonder World Comics. Dennis is so big into helping and setting up. He Fanfare, one of the cons that we have in Michigan, and a whole bunch of different ones. He's just great. And another one is Galaxy Comics in Saginaw. Scott is the owner, and Scott is amazing. His store is amazing. The prices are phenomenal. One of the best prices I have seen at any store. Prices are important. Very important. His prices are phenomenal. And the last store I would like to give a shout out to is Big Ben's. If you have not gone to Big Ben's, go. You will be overwhelmed with the size of the place. It is huge. It is full of comics and toys. So for a person that doesn't collect comics but goes for the toys and likes looking at comics in both, that's just a perfect place for me. It has everything. It's like the mall of toys and comics. It is the biggest store I have ever seen dedicated to toys and comics, and that's Big Ben's. So thank you. That was a wonderful question, and don't unlike my page now because you know I'm not really into comics, but you will see me in comic stores a lot. Bye everybody.